Hey guys, Chelsea here, and it is time for Fun Times with Logic. So, this is what we have. This is, Fred's argument about premature births and all that stuff, and then Joe's argument as well. We have previously gone through these and looked at, kind of simplifying everything. So let's run through it again. First, Fred says, premature births lead to low birth weights. And, the reverse of that, at the same time, the data has said, on-time births lead to healthier birth weights, okay? In general, by the way, this does make sense. Premature babies, like if it's born several weeks premature, usually they have to be like in incubators, and there's all kinds of stuff to they have to feed it a bunch to make sure it gets up to a healthy weight. You don't want your baby to be born too soon. On-time births are usually much better. So that's the idea. Okay, so on-time births lead to healthy birth weights. The second thing Fred says is adequate prenatal care leads to fewer low birth weight babies. Prenatal care is like when your doctor tells you stuff about what to eat and how to exercise when you're pregnant and the vitamins to take, and it's just like stuff like that, right? And they give you advice and those sorts of things. So, adequate prenatal care, if you have all that stuff, you're probably not going to have a low birth weight baby. Maybe because you're eating better, or you're exercising well, or you're staying at a healthy weight, you're gaining weight appropriately. All pregnant women have to gain weight in order to support the baby as well. So all that kind of stuff. And that culminates in his third sentence, his thesis, which says adequate prenatal care decreases the risk of low birth weight babies. And it also, the data says, makes it more likely to have healthy birth weight babies. Okay. So if you notice here, actually, these two sentences are basically the same. Adequate prenatal care leads to fewer low birth weight babies. Adequate prenatal care decreases the risk of low birth weight babies. The same thing. So we're going to simplify that. And we're just going to narrow it down to those two sentences. And then Joe's argument over here, Joe is saying adequate prenatal care, right? So again, getting all the doctors and the information and the vitamins and stuff leads to more on-time births, not premature. So if you have a good doctor and you're doing all the things right and you're eating well and you keep your, metabolism good and your blood sugars are good and all these things, then you're probably not going to have a premature birth. You're probably going to give birth on time. Okay, cool. That makes sense. That's good. So now we have these three sentences. How do they come together? Well, we're going to rearrange them a little bit, okay? And we're going to do a little bit of that analyzing assumptions stuff where we put the thesis at the end and the other information builds up to the thesis, yeah? So let's check it out. Adequate prenatal care. So this is Joe now. Again, all the same sentences. Adequate prenatal care leads to more on-time births. Okay, so adequate prenatal care gets you an on-time birth. On-time births, this is what Fred said originally, on-time births lead to healthier birth weight babies, right? So if you give birth on time, your baby is probably healthier weight. And then the final thesis is adequate prenatal care, which came from here. Adequate prenatal care decreases the risk of low birth weight babies. In other words, it makes it more likely that you will have a healthy birth weight baby. Now, we've seen this before for sure, right? A leads to B, B leads to C, therefore A is connected to C, right? It's like the transitive property, but with logic. This is the whole idea. So this is great. Yeah, that makes sense. That's awesome. What's the idea here? The big thing that you need to learn, the skill, okay, because obviously you're not going to talk about prenatal care for the rest of your life, every single day. But the skill here is when you have these complex sentences that we're starting out with, don't start out with the complex sentences. Don't leave it complex. Simplify these sentences. Make it all simple. Use causation sentences or if-then statements is fine. And then really start to rearrange these things in that same idea of making assumptions and gathering logical evidence, logical flow, making sure that the logic makes sense. All that stuff, we're going to rearrange it so that the argument has a structure. And you can rearrange logical arguments in any sort of way, as long as they support each other. So, those are the two skills that we really want to take home here. Let's see if we can apply them on some of our other logical questions.